Hey guys, what it do? It's your boy Supreme Uchiha the God, and today I want to talk about Jiraiya and why I think his death is one of the most impactful deaths in anime and manga history. His death is just hauntingly impactful. It's not just because he was obviously a powerful character and a legendary son, and it's because to Naruto and to us, Jiraiya was family. He wasn't some distant legend or abstract ideal. He was the one that took Naruto under his wing and was like a father figure, an uncle, and an older brother, all rolled into one. The ice cream scene and how pivotal that it is. Nobody has ever gotten Naruto a treat like that. Jiraiya did. He took the time to understand Naruto, to make him laugh, to give him joy. When Jiraiya died, it really felt like a piece of our own youth was buried with him. And I want to give Naruto credit. When it comes to emotional weight, I don't think any anime or manga in history for me reaches that level of it. Like every time I see a reel from Naruto, I feel the every emotion I felt the day I first watched and read it. Like I feel that emotion like viscerally, and it's so intriguing. Like there's a lot of stuff. Sometimes I see Full Metal Alchemist, and most of the stuff like I remember vaguely, and I know they were deep, and I know I was really sad, but I wasn't as connected to a lot of those characters as I am to the Naruto characters. Right, I was really connected with Jiraiya. I was, like it's just it's so deep, man. It's so deep. Obito's death, that really hit me. Like he's one of my favorite characters in fiction. And there's just so many of them like that throughout the story, and they're done so wonderfully. I think it's tempting in a lot of ways to compare his death to someone like Kite in Hunter x Hunter. And I seen that actually a poll on that. That's actually what inspired this video, because Kite is another mentor figure whose loss shaped the protagonist. But the difference here is time. With Kite, his bond with Gon was sudden. Even if he may have briefly showed up before, it wasn't relevant. It wasn't important. Kite was kind of thrown in front of us, and then he died, and we were supposed to care. It was a spark that lit a fire in Gun, but it wasn't something we as readers had grown with. Kite's death served a purpose. It broke on. It showed us how far he would fall, but we never truly knew Kite. Not in any way, and he nowhere near the same way that we knew Jiraiya. Nowhere near the same level. We watched Jiraiya fall and fail and try again. We saw him rejected, laughed at, humiliated, scarred, and still he got back up. He was a fool in love, a writer, of a spy and a warrior. He was complex in a way that most mentors aren't allowed to be in a ninja world. And through it all, he remained warm, kind, human. He saw Naruto's pain before most of the world even cared, and he made it his mission to guide him, not just to strength, but to maturity, to help him find the balance between rage and peace, power, restraint, love, and even loss. And the funny thing is when people compare Kite's death versus Jiraiya's death, they say, but Gun saw Kite die right in front of him. He did, and I'm sure the impact to Gun was, relatively high, but the impact to the audience was nowhere near as powerful. In my opinion, I don't even think it's an opinion. I think that's just factual, right? I think if you do a poll worldwide and people were being brutally honest and not biased, they would all say that Jiraiya's death was far more impactful to the audience. And I think that's important. When Jiraiya dies, it doesn't come with a massive explosion or an overdramatic speech. It comes slowly, painfully, against impossible odds. He goes up against pain. His own former student and the man who would one day shatter Konoha. And he doesn't run, he doesn't beg, he fights until the last breath because he believes in Naruto. What makes it hurt even more is the realization that this man who lived a life full of failure and unfulfilled love died just the way he lived. He wandered around alone as a Sanin, and he died alone on a mission, far from home, knowing he would never see his godson again. But he still smiled. He still found peace in his final moments, believing that maybe Naruto would succeed where he had failed. And Naruto, he doesn't just cry. He grieves deeply. You can feel it in every panel, in every scene. And that the ending of or the opening for after Jiraiya's death, during the pain arc, that opening, every time I hear it, it almost makes me cry every single time, because I just immediately imagine everything that went into that pain fight and everything that went into Jiraiya getting that pivotal information that got the Leaf Village the victory in the end. It's even right now, to be honest, I feel like crying just talking about it. That's how impactful that is. And I haven't seen that scene in what, 10 years, you know. I haven't seen Jiraiya's dead in 10 years, and it's not something I ever want to rewatch, like that scene specifically. It's just too fucking sad. And the fact that I still feel that powerful of an emotion 10 years later, I think it just shows how powerful it is. Like, even, the death of Ace in One Piece is like, it's a great, the Marine arc is a fantastic arc, but we don't really know Ace that much, and we don't really care about him that much either in comparison to a Jiraiya. And I think that's why the impact, and I know One Piece fans are going to be fighting me, like, oh, Ace, of course, but being like fair and unbiased, and actually, using our non-agenda brains here, I think Jiraiya's death is possibly the most impactful death in anime history. When Naruto collapses in the rain after hearing the news, that moment becomes one of the most honest portrayals of grief in the genre. And the tears are falling, and his ice cream is falling too, like, and he hits the floor, and she's like, was that the ice cream? Was that his tears? And the fact that he still forgave the guy who killed his master. The same way his father forgives Obito later when he finds out that Obito killed his wife and was the reason for his death and countless deaths in Konoha. He stopped anybody from attacking him because he saw Obito as his own child almost. It was his wife's favorite student of his. And that student was the reason she died. And he knew that she would want him to forgive her right there and then. And he did. The hole that Jiraiya left was the hole of a true father figure. Jiraiya's death doesn't push Naruto off the edge. It steadies him. It matures him. It becomes a cornerstone of his growth and his strength. It's the reason why he climbs to the heights that he does by the end of the series. Naruto doesn't try to replace Jiraiya. He tries to honor him, to listen to his words, to learn from his life, and most of all, he chooses to forgive. Naruto speaks to him. Despite pain killing, in his eyes, his future wife, most of the village. Naruto doesn't kill Pain. He forgives him. He speaks to him. He shows him the hope Jiraiya never stopped believing in. In doing so, Naruto breaks the cycle of vengeance that consumed generations before him. And that's the legacy Jiraiya left behind for him. There are deaths that shock us, there are deaths that shape stories, but Jiraiya's death does more. It lingers, it grows with us. It's one of those rare moments in manga and anime that doesn't just move the plot forward, it moves the heart. It reminds us of what it means to pass on wisdom, what it means to live with purpose even in failure, and what it means to love someone like a son, even if you never got to say it out loud. And when Naruto finally becomes the man Jiraiya always believed he could be, it doesn't feel like a win for the protagonist. It feels like closure for all of us. A final message from the man who lived as a fool and died a legend, a hero. Jiraiya. Rest in peace. It's been the voice of Primitive God. Make sure you leave a comment, subscribe, I'm out.